Hi guys, Louis Dangoor here from GiveMeSport, and I'm joined by a very special guest who's got a very big match coming up at NXT TakeOver 36 with Karrion Kross. I'm joined by Samoa Joe. Joe, how you doing?
Excellent. How are you?
I'm very good, very, very good. It's a pleasure to talk to you. You're someone that I wanted to speak to for a while, and it's someone that whose work I've followed for a while. So it's an absolute pleasure to get the chance to speak to you today.
Oh, right on. Well, good to be here.
Awesome. So you've got this big match coming up with Karrion Kross. I mean, when we talk about two Goliaths, you two come to mind. Speak to us about your feelings going into this big title match and getting to step inside the ring again.
I think for me, there is obviously some excitement just to be back in the ring. It's been a while, and I'm looking forward to firing up the engine again. And as far as for Karrion Kross, I mean, obviously, a great domineering champion for NXT thus far, and I look forward to walking him down, beating him up, and taking a championship from him. I mean, it's going to be a good weekend.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it as well. I mean, it's kind of in the reverse of SummerSlam that we normally see it with the takeover the day before, but this time we're having the takeover as the main event in what you guys will likely be the final match of SummerSlam weekend. So how's that for you?
I mean, it's fantastic. I mean, obviously, you want to end summer right. You want there to be some cheer and some hope going into the fall. So I can't think of a better way than me with my hand raised victorious and millions of fans around the world cheering and screaming in ecstasy as they know that their champion is once again back.
It was, I mean, for us anyway, as fans, when you were brought in as this enforcer, there was a lot of excitement, but I don't think many of us expected your first match to be within 2 months, really, of you being back with NXT. I think everyone sort of thought it might have been a longer, more drawn out process. Was that something that surprised you when you were brought in? Were you aware that it would be the takeover in August where you'd be having your first match?
It didn't surprise me at all. It was kind of what we were thinking about from the interim. I knew that would be the perception. I mean, you got to realize I've had the dirt thrown on my career about 2 or 3 times now throughout my career. And it's funny. It's like anytime I transfer out of company, leave a company, do this, do that. That's the great thing about the internet, because you can go back to like timestamps of that moment in time, what everybody's thinking. And it's like, oh, he's done. He's never, it's over. Yeah, I know you all thought that. That's what y'all think every time something happens in my career, because I don't sit here and talk a lot. It's just because, hey, it's not because I'm not trying to be transparent to me. It's just I'm going through stuff. I'm going through health issues. I'm going through this. And I don't think it's good to be making statements in a public light when you're dealing with such heavy emotional issues, because you have a tendency just to be destructive on social media. So because of my planned kind of just focus on getting healthy, getting back in the ring, doing the right things, not putting external social pressure on myself because, because I see people saying, oh, you're done and you're over and this is it. This is what the modern entertainer, athlete, media figure has to deal with now. That they have to be able to manage the social pressure as an actual entity, as something that can actually affect you during the day, with your professional and your personal and your health needs. So because of that, I kind of took it in. And when I saw everybody saying, hey, listen, you're done. Joe's done. It's over. I know, because he's not talking when they don't, and just all these asinine reasons, not having any idea about my health, not having any idea of what I was going through, where I was in my recovery, just taking, throwing the dartboard at the wind. We knew that me coming in as an authority figure would make everybody go, oh yeah, they give him a little retirement job before he comes back, So yeah, I mean, we knew. I mean, I know how y'all perceive stuff and how the media frenzy gets anytime you get in any flux in your career. And it was always planned to come back at this time.
Awesome. And I mean, you've mentioned that kind of people and social media coming up with their theories, as they often do about everything. Mm-hmm. Was there any part of you that almost, I know you mentioned having to deal with it yourself, sort of the emotional side of what you're going through. Did any part of you just want to go, right, this is what I'm dealing with, just stop speculating? Or were you just quite happy with how things sort of panned out and how you kind of dealt with things?
I think everybody wants to do that, but I also feel that and I mean, I'm being accusatory because I'm going to be like hostile to the media. I don't think it's ridiculous. You just got to understand your relationship with the media.
Of course.
But the need to run out and justify and to refute means you're making the statement that they wanted in the first place.
Sure.
So you're kind of, you're feeding the machine yet further, so that's the thing. So I just tell people, shut up, chill out, shut up. Because inevitably, what is proof of what's going to happen is your actions and your recovery, what you do. So you should focus on those things. You should focus on your recovery. You should focus on, getting in the right mind space, getting yourself healthy, getting yourself back, and not focus on all this other extraneous stuff that really goes away the minute that you're back and you're doing what you should be doing. And then all of a sudden, it's all kind of a forgotten, cached, put on some bulletin board and stuck away in an archive somewhere, never to be seen again. So I think that's just something important for everybody to kind of, understand and deal with. And that's, like I said, when you do sit back, you do watch, and you get to see the frenzy, you get to go, okay, wow, they really can be imaginative with what's going on.
Oh, we can. But it was, as I'm sure you've heard many times over the last 2 weeks, really, since your return has been sort of confirmed. We're all so excited to see you back. And I guess back in NXT, where the best wrestling on the planet is, let's be honest. So when obviously you got released by WWE and then brought back, was NXT always sort of where you wanted to be? Was that the goal for you, or was like the main roster?
This kind of move to NXT was talked about, I want to say almost 2 years ago.
Oh, wow.
With Hunter. But at the time, obviously, I was with the main roster. They were using me a ton. I was doing a ton of stuff with the main roster. So that was my focus, and just they couldn't pull me, away from that, but it was always something that we had spoken about, and that we had kind of had like, okay, this is what we'll eventually get to. And so it's funny, release from WWE back, I felt bad because it really wasn't much of a release. It was, hey, we're doing this. And then a couple hours later, it's like, hey, we're doing, okay, cool. But I said guiltily, it was terrible because you're still receiving calls, but obviously we want to keep things on the DL to, because we knew how we were going to reintroduce me back to the product. And, I'm getting these, oh man, it's like feigning, oh yeah, I'll be all right. Don't worry about me. I was like, and then, it kind of culminated with somebody saying, man, he's really chipper for a guy that just got fired. I've never seen a guy so calm and relaxed. He's really handling this well. So.
Yeah, I guess people thinking, damn, for someone that's just lost his job, he's really taking this well. But I mean, look, NXT feels like you're back home in a way. It feels like NXT was where, I mean, speaking for me personally, I've enjoyed a lot of your main roster work, but NXT was always somewhere where I thought you shone. And so I'm really excited. And as I'm sure many other people are, to see you back. But I know when you were doing your enforcer role, it was just like, right, tease City. We're just going to tease matches with everyone that everyone wants to see. Obviously, first one, we've got Karrion Kross lined up. Who are some other people that are on your wish list, if you've got a sort of proverbial wish list of people that you want to wrestle?
I mean, obviously, you got guys like Pete Dunne, you have Adam Cole, Kyle O'Reilly. I mean, Roderick Strong, even right now, I mean, with Diamond Mind, and he seems really reinvigorated and wanting to go. On the NXT UK, right? And Walter. I mean, obviously, that's a big one. A lot of guys I know been bringing up. I mean, Ilya Dragunov. I'm just now really getting familiar with him in the ring and seeing what he's doing. That guy's. I mean, he's another. I mean, there's just. I think when it comes to the NXT universe in and of itself, there are a plethora of matchups. I think myself and the fans like to see.
And I mean, I know NXT, there's a lot of dream matches, but for me, the one I want to see most, and I think with this new character he's got, and I know he's not in NXT, is Roman Reigns. And I'm sure you've seen all of the comments out there, kind of with this sort of Samoan storyline that he's got going on with the head of the table. Your thoughts on what he's been doing over the last year or so, really, and maybe the chance to get in the ring with him again with this new storyline that he's got.
Well, what Roman's been doing has been fantastic. Like he's really embraced, what he probably should have been a long time ago. He's built a hell of a squad around him. And head of the table. That's it's an interesting moniker. But Roman knows what's up. I'm never too far away. He really need to say my name and I will show up. No problem. He knows that. And I ain't interested in sitting at your table, man. I'll flip it over and I'll eat your birthday cake in front of you. That's about it.
Yeah, it's one of those ones where I think everyone just goes, all right, it's Samoa Joe and the Samoan called Joe. Let's see it. And you know what? It'd probably be pretty good in the ring. But we've got a lot of, I guess, you've got a lot of strings to your bow now coming off this spell where you weren't wrestling, where you're on commentary. I guess something that must have been a pretty new experience for you. How did you enjoy that new role on the commentary team, which I think is probably a harder job than a lot of people appreciate?
An incredibly difficult position, especially, like I said, for my compatriot who's sitting, running traffic, guys like Michael Cole, Tom, Vic Joseph. I mean, these guys, they're next level as far as when it comes to getting in the trenches and knocking it out. And anybody who sits in that seat, that's just the truth of it. You're sitting in Raw and SmackDown or NXT, and you're the main call. I mean, it's an incredibly difficult place to be. But that being said, a fantastic time. Really enjoyed learning so much more about the greater production side of what we do and how hard all those men work. From the guys slinging those cameras to the audio booms to the traffic here. I mean, it's incredible the amount of physical and mental effort that goes into putting on a live show every week. So it was a lot of fun, and I enjoyed it a tremendous amount and learned a lot too. So it was a cool stint.
And I guess along with that, now I know you've mentioned, I think it was in your interview with Ryan Satin, that you're doing some work with sort of the scouting department of WWE and looking at that role. Speak to us a little bit about what that role entails for you, and I guess what you look for in the next WWE superstar.
Well, obviously, on the scouting front, it's just an opportunity to kind of go out there and I think we, as far as the grapplers and the guys who are proficient in what we do, those guys are on the radar, and we know those guys and we know what they're capable of. I think I'm more here to go out there and identify athletes who, I think have the good physical characteristics or just the natural biomechanics to kind of transfer over and do this. And, it's kind of been our focus, kind of going out and looking for the next great big WWE superstar. And I'm very much looking forward to finding it.
I mean, one man who has showed, I guess, no hesitation in stating what he wants to do is obviously Gable Stevenson. Absolutely killing it in the Olympics, or did kill it, and is regularly tagging Vince McMahon on Twitter, saying that he wants a shot in WWE. He's surely got to be someone that you guys have got your eye on, thinking, damn, this guy is money, and he's so young as well.
I can say from my personal standpoint, he's definitely on my radar. And I think, he's just, obviously a phenomenal athlete, doing amazing. Just an amazing victory in the Olympics. And a really tremendous athlete, great personality. I've heard nothing but glowing things about him from several people. I have a buddy with USA Judo who consistently texts me and raves and waxes philosophic about how great he is, and that's saying something, because he's a man that doesn't hand out praise easily. So like I said, I think a tremendous athlete. Like I said, I know he's definitely on the radar, and I'd love to see somebody like that within the bounds of WWE.
I guess someone else that, when we think of kind of crossover athletes, or someone that's tried their hands in a few fields, is Brock Lesnar. And when I think of your run on the main roster, it's your match with him, and then that match at SummerSlam, that 4-way match, called it the Big Meaty Men match, with Braun and Roman added to that. It must have been really cool to work with Brock, and as well Paul Heyman. I remember that segment where you were speaking to Paul, but the cameras picked it up, but it felt like you were actually just talking to him. Speak to us about being involved with Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman, and your memories of that sort of work in 2017.
They're fond memories. And Paul, obviously, he's a genius, and Paul and I have a great synchronicity when it comes to ideas and thought, and he'll say a few words and I'll know exactly what he means. And I think that interaction in particular was one of those moments where I think it was something to the effect of Michael sits down with Solozzo at dinner, and I went, and he goes, and he's yeah, okay, I got it.
Yeah.
I think that was the entire breadth of the conversation when we were kind of going over the tone of what we wanted to do. And for Brock, man, I mean, just an incredible athlete, probably one of the most incredible athletes I've been in the ring with. Kurt being among that pantheon. I mean, just guys with next level reflexes and strength and ability. And just he when he goes out there, he goes out there, he wants to be in a fight. He wants it to be wild and rowdy, and I'm more than willing to provide that for him. So there was a good synchronicity there as far as that went.
And I guess we all kind of expected you and him to produce magic, and I'm sure you knew how good he was. But was there anyone that surprised you with how good they were when you had the chance to step in the ring with them on the main roster? Maybe someone that not that you weren't expecting a lot from, but maybe they were just so good that it kind of caught you off guard.
Oh, I mean, it's tough. That's I wouldn't say my expectation bar was set pretty high, just because even when I got to the main roster, like most of the guys I was working with were very, very proficient, very, very skilled. So I wouldn't say anybody like surprised me, because I kind of expected a lot. And if anything, like they delivered and it was as expected. But I think I will say this for Roman, and I think he has some of the most incredible like poise and presence ability for the guy at that time was at that point in his career. But then again, like you think about the pedigree, when you think about, the influences and what he's grown up with and what he understands, it's and just his natural ability. I mean, it's no secret why he does it so well.
Yeah, and I mean, he's coming sort of approaching this huge match with John Cena. I wanted to speak a little bit about John Cena and the impact of having someone like him back in WWE. I know that, I mean, WWE is a huge brand, a global juggernaut, but someone like Cena, who, as well as working with WWE at the moment, has got films out and big films at that. So what is the impact of having John Cena back in WWE have on the company as a whole, and I guess you guys as well that are also working there? What do you think is the real importance of having someone like him around?
1,000,000% positive. And it's obviously John beloved here, as a superstar. John doing fantastic on Hollywood, and I just saw the new Suicide Squad movie. I thought it was great. I thought it was really, really exceptional and enjoyed it. I thought John did a great job. And having him back is great. I think it's great for the WWE universe. I mean, it's just, anytime that, guys who are going on to these monumental heights, take some time in a very busy schedule. I mean, don't get it twisted. I mean, when it comes to guys like The Rock, when it comes to guys like John Cena, Batista, if you see some of the schedules these guys live, it's tough to take this time and to come back and to compete in a physical capacity. I mean, it's just, it's different, especially when, like I said, coming from a man who's taking some time off, it's not so easy to kind of rev up the engine and get it back going to performance mode. So, I give him all the credit in the world for taking the time to come back. And, but John's always been a guy who's been adamant about, this has been a big part of his ascension to where he is now. So he's going to make his best, do his best by it and come back here whenever he can. And, it's always good to have him back, especially for a big SummerSlam and one like this where, we're having fans back and, it's looking to be a big event to kick off, hopefully better things to come.
Well, I think people I've spoken to this year have said, oh, it's going to be like our WrestleMania. But you had a pretty unique WrestleMania experience. I mean, I know I'm sure you've seen it. The picture of you in the poncho with Michael Cole. That must have been a crazy experience. You're sitting there at WrestleMania and you're like, right, the show's delayed. Speak to us a little bit about what was going on at that time.
It's just that. I mean, it's just we knew about the rain delay. Obviously, something a lot of people don't know about the Tampa Bay area. The team's called their hockey team's called the Lightning for the reason is because there are more lightning strikes in Tampa than there are pretty much anywhere in the world. So, doing that, whenever there's thunder or lightning in the air, you got to get the fans underneath cover and get them off the floor of the stadium. And we were just more concerned about the safety, but at the same time, you got to fill time, go back and forth, and just kind of doing live shots back and forth. And for us, it's just amusing to hear the chaos going on, as they're going back. But right before we go on air, they noticed it was just me and Michael Cole. Before that, this shrilling electronic screech comes to our earpieces, and I mean, I pull mine out. I'm like, oh my god! And then Byron's standing over the corner. His headset had completely shorted out. He's pulling stuff off of him and he's trying to listen. And I mean, we look at his, his IV, it's just sitting in a puddle of water that appeared in 2 seconds because it rains like the Amazon forest here in Florida when it does get going. So, I mean, it was just a lot of chaos. And I mean, the whole time I'm just laughing. And then When we went to back, obviously the rain starts going sideways and we're underneath a covered canopy. But at that point, I just go, give us the ponchos. Nah, dude, otherwise we're going to be out here soaking wet, looking like a Monty Python skit if we don't get these things. I'd rather look like the Gordon's fisherman than some dude in a wetsuit. This is expensive, so give me the poncho.
I remember everything was going crazy, but all I could see on social media was just this picture of you in a poncho, looking incredibly happy. Which
that's the main world, man. That's how it works.
Awesome. Samoa Joe, thank you so much for taking the time to speak to me today. It's been an absolute pleasure. Before I let you go, sort of give us a very quick sort of note about why people need to be watching TakeOver 36 on August 22nd.
Oh, I'll tell you. So, perhaps you've lacked some joy this year. Maybe there isn't so much pep in your step. Maybe you don't feel as bright and vivacious as you should. Well, I'll tell you what, tune into NXT TakeOver 36, where I will be pummeling Karrion Kross to and fro, all about the ring in joyful fashion, bringing great joy and happiness to you and probably your family. Your next 3-time NXT champion, Samoa Joe.
Awesome. Joe, thank you very much for your time today, sir.
Yeah, take care.